episode 74. Let's do this. Oh, yeah. Happy Monday. Okay. Hit it. Mozart. There's my Mozart. What's up, everybody? Come on in, folks. We got a nice crew in here already, and I'm just getting ready. Here we go. Monday, my favorite day of the week. Cheers, everybody. Happy Monday. All right. Yes, it is Flag Day. For anybody interested, this is the drink I'm drinking. I don't know where you're going to find it. Come on, focus. Focus. Yeah. This stuff here is ridiculously tasty. It's got a little bit of a licorice orange taste. That's how I can best describe it. Italian markets. That's where you'll find it. Wow, we got a group in here. William. The U.S. Army's 246th birthday, and it's Flag Day. Here we go. Cheers. I have something to say about Flag Day. In a second. We got Frank, Corey, Dan, Libra, Liz, Darla. Who else do we have in here? William, Amanda, Corey, Frank, Cassandra. There's some new people in here. What's up, people? Come on in. Lilith, you're in here. Hi, Lilith. So, yeah, I'm still where I just did 2 back-to-back Zoom shows, and this is my magician outfit for the day. Yes, it is a pretty bottle. If you have an Italian market, you can find this stuff. Chino. Yeah, this is my jacket that I wear when I do shows sometimes. This is a newer one. I have 2. But I just did a show. There, see? Literally, I shut off Zoom, booted up Streamlabs, and here I am. I've been online a lot today, so if I seem a little... that's why. If I seem a little... please forgive me. Okay. But I really do feel... Flag Day. Yeah, I like old school American patriotism. My grandparents, they always told me that, you know, when they were young, everybody came from somewhere different. You know, the Irish guy, the Italian guy, the German guys. Everybody spoke different languages and had different cultural backgrounds. But the only thing that they could all share together was the red, white, and blue. And the national anthem and a bunch of other things like the 4th of July. And for some reason, it got so weird that if you're patriotic, you're some right-wing kook. And it's sad that certain groups of people think that, you know, that if you hang a flag outside your house, you must be a patriotic kook, as opposed to just happy about the system we're under right now. It could be better, it could be worse, but I am content. So for Flag Day, I do like the American flag, and cheers. There you go. Bourbon Day. I didn't know that. I think every day is a holiday at this point. Somebody got their mystery box. I got a few more. William, yours is almost done. I literally put a couple goodies in it today. So you'll be getting it. Don't. I hope no one's impatient, because I really try to make them kind of cool. What else? My weekend. Oh boy. So I literally had 2 days off this weekend, and I really mean that. I mean, um, I had Saturday. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to make a meme, a post, a write, nothing. I didn't even I didn't even write at all or read. That's not true. I read a little bit. I did read. A lot, actually. I read a lot yesterday and Saturday. But beside that, I didn't have to work. I didn't have to do any performing or shows. Actually, I take that back. I had to do a little bit yesterday for a favor, but it was fun. People think that there are those that think I don't like performing all the time. There are those, it depends. If I've just done 4 or 5 hours of magic shows and someone goes, do a trick, it's kind of lame. I'm like, no. But, if I see in someone's eyes that they need a little bit of wonder, or if I did magic right now, it's literally going to change the vibe for the better, I'll do it. I don't even think about it. I eat and breathe magic. That's what I do. I'll do it for anybody, anytime. It's just there's certain types of people that think that you're literally like, do one. That, no, I'm sorry. I will not jump to the snap. And there are also people that don't take into consideration that I do it full time. The amount I do, so that maybe when they're asking me, I had just literally done card tricks for 3 hours and my fingers are like this. That happens. I showed my hands to somebody the other day that's a massage therapist, and they looked at my hands and went, oh. I went like this, and they were like, why are your hands all caved in? And I'm like, what do you mean? And most people, when they show me their hands, they're like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's the natural state of my hands. Look at that. I don't know if you noticed that. They're just like, it's my palm. I have this fat muscle palm. So sometimes, yeah, not in the mood. But I just got a little bit of soda on my jumbo cards. These are my jumbo cards. I do magic with these sometimes. They're... maybe I'll show you a trick with these today. Let's see. Pay attention and you'll maybe see a trick. That's it, folks. I had a crazy, busy, fun weekend, meaning I was on my 6-person bicycle and... Bozo brand Zeno. I like that name. What a great name. We got a good subject today. We'll get to it in a second. We're going to go into some Stoicism today. We're going to take it into a deeper layer a bit. We're going to start with somebody famous, and I'm going to examine one part of Stoicism I don't wrap my head around all the way yet, which we'll get to. I just had a few more things I wanted to throw out there. I didn't see any movies or television, or I have anything to review. I honestly, Lilith, tell your significant other that I did listen to Shostakovich all day today. I had it on. Wow. Anybody wants to listen to classical music? I'm familiar with Shostakovich, but I don't really ever sit down and listen. But I did today. I listened to a lot. And it's very, what's the word? His symphonies are very cinematic. They're like very just, it's like a film. There's all over the place and really good stuff. Where were you in the line of 6 people of the bike? Well, let me see here. Do I have a picture of it? Well, there's the picture. You sit side by side. I usually drive it. It holds 3 across each bench and 2 kids in the front. I rode it all weekend. It literally was the non-stop party mobile. I rode it up and down the boardwalk. I went surfing. I went to the fancy hotel, to the private cabana. I did the beach thing. I hung out on the beach and I surfed. It was a fantastic weekend. No complaints. I was excited for Monday. And the reason is this is my last really busy week. If you're a friend of mine watching this and my mom is in the house. What's up, mama? I've been a little out of it just because of the amount of shows I'm doing. It might not seem like a lot to some people to do 3 shows a day, even their short shows, but it's not the show that's the hard part. Um, the show I can do in my sleep. It's the before and after, the cleanup and the get ready and the prep work in between each one. Sometimes they're all a little different. My Zoom shows, some people saw me on before, so I have to do a different program, you know. And then, yeah. So this week is the last super busy week. I had 2 today, 2 tomorrow, 3 on Wednesday in a row. Thursday I'm busy. I have 1 and then I do a live. Friday, I don't think there's one of these this Friday. I'm not sure yet. I think I have another online bit. And then I have Saturday, I'm at the Slipper Room. So if you're in the city of the tri-state area and you want a fun weekend, Thursday night at Rockaway Beach, there's a crazy party that I book the entertainment and perform at here. And then Saturday night, I think I'm in the 10 p.m. and the 11 p.m. show. Slipper Room, New York City, Manhattan, downtown nightclub, burlesque house. I'm the magic guy in the main stage. So, yeah, I'm doing 2 of those. So that's what's hard about doing performing. It's not the... And then in between that, I'm booking bar mitzvahs and all the other... You know. Yeah. Let's have a talk. If you're new to this channel, folks, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000, and it's hard. Let me tell you, it is not easy. They really do shadow ban you when you're under 1,000. There's a button they hit when you get it, and it opens it up. 3 appointments for anything in a day sounds like sheer hell to me. Yes. Are you over 40? That's what I heard. I heard once you're over 40, 2 appointments is it. I'm not kidding. I've actually heard that. I'm over 40, and 2 is a lot. 3 is a bunch of... It's just everything I do, I try to take it really seriously, even if it's going to the grocery store, because I don't want to forget anything. I like having no appointments. When I get a day where I don't have to do anything, it is literally one of the most fun days of the week or the month. Peter Benedetti, how are you, buddy? Didn't you just have an art show? I know you had an art show, and it looked awesome, and I wish I could go. And if it's still on, maybe next week I'll go. Yeah, you know what? Lilith, we should do a night up there. I'm on it. Look, I'm writing it down right now. See this? This is how it all works. Folks, this is how you make magic. You write it down. Woo! With a powerful marker. All right. I'm going to put... I would love to drive up a burlesque show and put it on up there. That would be awesome. It would be like a night up and a night back, one of those deals. I guarantee we got to find a venue. Let's chat later. Maybe there's a venue. See, I just get an idea and it goes down and then I make it happen. I'm going to make that happen. We're going to bring the Slipper Room to you. How's that? Oh yeah, York, PA. I know York, PA. I've gigged there. Smash that button. Yeah, so if you're new, hit the subscribe. Also, if you're new, you'll notice people are chatting. The more you chat, the more points you get. The more points you get, you can win prizes. Look in the description. You will see the rules to that. And we have a participation show, meaning whatever I'm talking about, jump in. I don't do this. I would never do this show if it was a canned show. I like live. I like to talk. I like to be on spot. I find live is more honest. I don't have time for the ego games of what's going to work. It just comes out. I go for, to me, live performing and chatter, it's the closest thing to the law of the jungle in spoken form, because you go for what would work in the moment. You don't go, should I say this or should I say this? You don't do that. You go by instinct. If you've put your time and effort into the subject, you shouldn't have to think about it. It should come out, which is why I like live. Oh, Dan P. That's right. You're coming up here to party. So make a reservation. Tell them you're there to see the magic show. When you get the burlesque show, be like, I'm here to see the burlesque show. Make a reservation. Okay. It's been getting nuttier and crowded and more crazy. And I think Thursday when you come, the weather might be really nice. So it might be in the outdoor performing area. There's 2 performing areas, depending on the weather. Both are great. So, all right, cool. Dan, you're going to party on Thursday. Cool. Yeah. So, let's get into this. Folks, tonight's subject. Boom! Zeno of Citium and Stoic origins. I gotta admit, sounds like a boring title. I'm usually better at coming up with titles. But honestly, last night, after my fun weekend, on Sundays, I like to pick my subjects for the week on Sunday and kind of get ready for it, especially the news hour shows. The Behind the Devil's Curtain, I have episodes I'm working on. The problem is I take them too seriously, and I want the research to be even more intense. These can be light and off the cuff, but I still do research for them. So, last night I picked Zeno, or Zeno. I'm going to call him Zeno. Zeno of Citium. He's a philosopher. I'm curious if anybody's ever heard of him. He's a heavy hitter that people don't know about. He is considered to be the founder of Stoicism. And the reason why you don't hear his name so often is his writings are all gone. They don't exist. There aren't any copies. So, for whatever that's worth, that's why you don't hear about the guy. But if you read Seneca, I don't think Aurelius brings him up. Seneca does. Those guys, they talk about him because he's the founder. I mean, they know who he is. And other people wrote about him. Diogenes Laertius. So, not Diogenes of Sinope or Diogenes the dog. That's the philosopher. Diogenes of Laertius, that guy, he was the writer. He wrote about all of these gentlemen. And Zeno, he wrote about. So we're going to talk about Zeno, and we're also going to get into Bonzo. You're the definition of Stoic. Well, you're going to like tonight's episode. I am going to go through the Stoic principles, the core tenets of Stoicism, and go through the stuff that I don't necessarily agree with. The stuff where I lean more to the existentialistic kind of thing. So, let's talk about Zeno and move in. So, Zeno of Citium. He was born, you ready for this? 334 BC. Now, when I'm reading my philosophy books, and I'm reading Epicurus, or Socrates, or Plato, or anything about these guys, or Xenophon, I am shocked at the time. 300 BC, and this was going on. There was literally an area. They don't take a table reservation for 2. Dan, I'm going to make sure you're good. I'll hook you up. Shoot me a reminder, okay? Yeah, okay, wait, let me pause this here. For anybody that goes to Wits End, if you do research on Wits End, the restaurant that I do my shows at, you will see everything from the most amazing reviews to the worst reviews you have ever seen any restaurant receive. Once you visit the place, you will see why people give it a bad review. It's because of how crazy the vibe is there. It's the most punk rock venue I have ever been in. And there's no punk rock music played there. Sometimes they play heavy metal. But, okay. So, back to Zeno. Zeno. Now I'm calling him Zeno. I have to pick. 300 BC, these guys were running around. Athens had a neighborhood where the philosophers had their little setups. And this is 300 BC. These people were way ahead of the game. So it kind of blows my mind. So Zeno, Hellenistic period guy, he was Phoenician of descent. And his history is gray. There's stuff written about him, but it's hard to say what's real and what's fantasy here, okay? But supposedly he was a wealthy merchant. A lot of these Stoic guys and the Cynics came from money and then became poor on purpose or not on purpose. Here, this guy was a wealthy merchant who was on his way with purple dye in his boat. Purple was the color of wealth. Purple also was a color that was hard to make. And he went shipwrecked, and for some reason, he ends up in Athens. And I really, if someone gave me a time machine, I might pick that time to go hang out. Really. It might be the time period I'm most fascinated with, just to get the vibe. I mean, it seems like they were ahead of the game. So how did he get into Stoicism, or how did he learn about philosophy? It says in Athens, he found a book merchant and he bought Xenophon's book. And he read it and he liked it. Do I have? Yes, I have a Xenophon, Conversations of Socrates. It's him writing about Socrates. So in this book that Xenophon wrote, he learned about Socrates and he started to think. And anybody ever hear of this guy? Antisthenes? It's hard to say. Antisthenes. Antisthenes was one of the guys that studied under Socrates. And Antisthenes is considered the founder of Cynicism. So you've got Socrates, then the Cynics come into play. Now, the Cynics, for those of you that don't understand Cynicism, it's not what you think. The Cynics it's an early form of Stoicism. The thing that it's missing is its practicality. The Cynics were living performance artists. They literally became ascetics, meaning they lived like monks on the street. They barely wore any clothing. They all grew long beards. They had a stick. They had like an outfit they wore. They were like a squatter punk. Imagine if the squatter punks actually had some wisdom. That's what it would be like. Imagine a really famous squatter punk where people came to watch him kind of perform his philosophy. That's what the Cynics were like. That's what Antisthenes was. And Antisthenes is traditionally considered to be the teacher of Diogenes, but that's not clear. They don't know about that. Diogenes, the famous Cynic, the most famous, I'm telling you now, look him up. Look up Diogenes the dog, and you're going to laugh at his stories. Diogenes might have shown up to Athens after Antisthenes was done with his thing. But Diogenes taught, some people say Crates, I say Crates. Crates. So it goes Socrates, Antisthenes. A lot of people like to say that then you can tie in Diogenes to Crates, and Crates taught Zeno. Crates of Thebes taught Zeno. And so, did you know all of these people? Oh, of course. Yes, I did know this. They were fans of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Yes. So, Cynicism's not that practical as a philosophy. It's got the principles of Stoicism, but a lot of people, I don't have time or energy or a desire to live on the streets and urinate in the streets and do everything else in the streets just to prove a point. that I don't need anything. I know this. I know I don't need anything. I know I can live in the jungle, naked if I had to. So then we've got Zeno. He shows up. And this guy here, he takes in what these cynic guys are teaching him, which is, which we'll get into in a second, because it's a lot of the Stoic stuff. But then, and this is something I didn't know about, Megarian, the Megarian school of philosophy. I never heard of it. And I did a little research, and it's another can of worms. It's a whole nother... I was like, oh my God, I can't even... Now I got to get a book on this. So he started reading this Megarian philosophy. This is pre-Socrates stuff. As there's a single good in the universe. There is some sort of singularity of good. Okay? Not God per se, but some sort of something. Okay. Now, why are the Stoics called Stoics and not Zenonians? Because for a minute they were called Zenonians. Because Zeno founded them, which is how the philosophies go. It's usually named after the philosopher, unless you're a cynic or a Stoic, and it's because I think they thought of it too much to name it after a man. So he decided Stoa is the name of a type of a porch that's painted that people would hang out on and teach. And that's it. The Stoics, the people that hang out and learn on the porch. So that's where it came from. Now, while he's in Athens, this is where it gets fun. Zeno strolls over to the Oracle of Delphi. Another can of worms if you want to go down it. They don't know a whole heck of a lot about this Oracle of Delphi, but you went there and you got some soothsaying. And it seems like, what was her name? Pythios. Pythios was like the high priestess of the Oracle of Delphi. Some accounts say she sat on a stool above a crack and the fumes, she would breathe them in and utter some weird nonsense, and people would decipher it and tell you what she said. Other accounts say that she was pretty clear-spoken. Well, supposedly Zeno went over, and she told him to take on the complexion of the dead. Take on the complexion of the dead. So, he interpreted that by, I'm going to read the classics as much as I can. All the philosophers that came before him. And that's what he did. Here we go. Now, let's get into the actual nitty-gritty of what he thought. If you want to get into Stoicism, it's broken into, you've got logic, ethics, and physics. The logic meaning the grammar, the words, the way it works. The ethics are the literal principles you're going to live by, and then the physics are how the physical world actually works. This is the part of philosophy where these guys were part physicist, part scientist, part mathematician. They were a little bit of everything. Kind of like, if you go back in time far enough, the shaman. The shaman was the doctor, the weatherman, the philosopher, right? So these guys were too. He thought, like Epicurus, Epicurus is great because he's always a little different than a lot of these guys. True, ancient Greece was amazing, Dan P. Yeah. Like Epicurus, he thought all is matter. Everything in the universe, it has matter. I don't know if he believed in space, but Epicurus thought everything's matter and void. Even the gods, if they are real, they're some sort of matter. They aren't just something outside of that, which is kind of neat. God, yes, Stoicism has gods, or God. The difference is it's not God like we hear the word God and think from an Abrahamic monotheistic point of view, right? These guys, first of all, were polytheistic, and a lot of them were really radical thinkers when it came to that. Epicurus too. I mean, he was basically an early version of the atheist. So Zeno was not an atheist. He thought God was real, but it wasn't a man in the sky. It wasn't Zeus. It was more of like the entire universe is God, which I don't like the word God. I never use the word just because of that. I don't like the semantics of it. But okay, you can call the whole universe God, whatever. Sure. I mean, yeah, the whole universe is amazing. It's yeah, maybe that is God of sorts. It's just one big unit and we're just a tiny little pieces of that unit. God is the universe, I wrote down here. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It is reason is better than no reason, which means reason is excellent. It's excellent. It's better than the other, so it's better. Reason is better than no reason. So they really did think that reason is good. Now, I'm coming from a there ain't no good and evil point of view, Nietzsche, existentialistic stuff. These guys thought, no, reason's good. All right. And logos was their word for universal reason, meaning the universe has some sort of reason to it. The planet has some sort of reason to it. I have some sort of reasoning to me, and so do my cells. Interesting notion. This reason, whatever this is, I don't know. This is what we're going to talk about tonight. This is the part of this discussion where I get into a little bit of a spinning mind thing, because I want to get my hands on this. We got virtues and vice. Yes, eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is the Stoic word for, what's the word? Humans doing, what's the word? They're just good. Everything's great. It's things are moving to their accord. And ataraxia is what Epicurus was going for. He was going for mental tranquility. These guys, it's not about mental tranquility. It's not like that. It's a little different. In Stoics and the Stoicism, they're going for virtue. And what do you get when you're virtuous? Virtue. That's it. It's interesting, right? So let's talk about this. That's Zeno's that's what he thought. And his virtues that he thought were good were, and these are the ones: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Temperance meaning restraint, knowing when's too far. The old saying, to indulge into something is your choice. When it's an addicting thing, then you're not indulging anymore. So you have to be able to know when is when. Magnanimity, self-control, endurance, quick wit, and good counsel. They were sub-virtues. And then the vices that he saw that were bad are folly, cowardice, injustice, and intemperance. I can get behind all of those. Folly, we all know that. That's stupidity. Sound familiar? Cowardice, that's a big one. Injustice, intemperance. Yeah, okay. Pathos is a disturbance of the mind, repugnant to reason and against nature. Yes. Pathos is a big deal too. So, all right, here we go. The system of indifference. Here's where the Stoics take what the Cynics had and add a new layer. The Cynics used to deface money. They don't even need it. They're bums. They panhandle. Money's meaningless. People give them things. I suppose they work for money, but they don't acquire wealth. And This system of indifference is what I think the Stoics figured out. They saw the cynics and they were like, you know what? They're right. They're right. This is a bunch of BS. People running around worrying about what other people think, dancing to the beat of somebody else's drum. You're right. Do it your way. But here's the thing. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. I want to have some sort of something. I don't want to live like a bum on the street. So they figured it out. Well, it's probably a little harder to go the Stoic route. It might be easier to go the cynic route and just cut it all off and go that route. But to be able to use intemperance, or our temperance and intemperance being not good, right? That's a little harder. Neither good, indifference, neither good nor bad. Things of indifference. They're not good or bad. It can contribute to self-preservation and growth, or it can destroy you, like money. If you have money, yes, can you use it to gain virtue? Yes. You can buy some books, you can take a class, you can take a trip, you can pay your bills and live in your dwelling. But too much money, too much this, too much that, bad decision making, now it's hurting you. Same thing, I wrote down sickness. Well, sickness sounds bad, but you can use it to grow too. You can use it to learn and make better. Now, here's where it all gets kaboom. Emotions are a sign of bad reasoning. So if someone's getting emotional over something, their reasoning is a little off. So, how do you fix it? It's easy. Clear understanding of how things are. Now, that is if I learn anything from the Stoics, it's that. Once you understand where somebody's coming from, even if it's a bad thing, you get it. And your anger issues definitely take a different turn. I'm not saying you don't have to blame the person anymore, but once you understand where they're coming from with their bad decision making, not only can you avoid it, but it won't set you off the same. Things that you don't understand are the ones that set us off. I mean, really, when you fly off the handle, look at it. It's usually because you don't understand all the details. Once you understand the details, it ain't so bad. All right, now, there's some more stuff on Zeno I wanted to get into here. Supposedly, this was a really weird anecdote I found. It sounds like Zeno had a water flask that he kept money in. It was like a secret compartment because no one's going to steal his little water bottle. He liked bread, honey, and wine. Oh, all right. So, Zeno's one of his famous sayings, because he doesn't have that many, was, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means you should listen more and talk less. Everybody can gain something from that. Listen more, talk less. There's another story where Zeno caught somebody stealing, and the person that was stealing whipped out a little bit of deterministic stuff and said, hey man, it's my fate for doing this. Now, like I said, if you understand where someone's coming from, you might not be as angry. So Zeno's reply was, oh, if it's your fate to steal that from me, it's my fate to beat you now. So he had kind of a tough guy vibe to him too. Supposedly he was like that, from what I've read. I like that. To drag someone away, you must convince with an argument, not by force. That's another thing he would talk about, and that means a lot to me. To drag someone away, you must convince with an argument and not by force. Sounds like show business to me. Anything you want to convince anybody of or communicate to your feelings, you got to convince them with your rhetoric. Now, if you ask me about that, I'm going to say you convince them with your rhetoric, but your body language, your face, your mode of dress, the way you smell, the colors you choose all play into it too. It goes one more layer. Um, it's like teaching children. You can't force kids to learn stuff. You have to really convince them. Happiness is a good flow of life. Right, I've heard that one. That's all. I think that is Zeno. The other one. All right, so let's get into this now. I always say this on the show, but happiness isn't guaranteed in Stoicism. It's not guaranteed. It's the result of living according to your nature. And one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is this. I want to get into the notion of what that means to have some sort of universal something in the universe. This divine reason of sorts. Because I don't see any evidence of a God in the universe. I do see the evidence of an order that could... So, the closest I could say to a God in the universe, from my point of view... I came up with this today, and I already forgot the exact wordage. I should have wrote it down. But clearly there's an order in the universe of something. But I really try to use this analogy of an ant trying to understand a DVD player or a television. Maybe an ant, if I put him on my table and there's a big TV on, he is able, after a lot of evolution, to go, wow, there's this crazy light thing on this table that's really big and powerful. I don't know exactly what it is, but it has this like flow that every day it does this thing. But it will never know that it's CBS News and there's a news anchor telling the story about an alligator. That ant can't get that. Even with another billion years of evolution, he's probably never going to understand that. But he might be able to get like that there's a bright light coming off of this flat object. To me, that's what this all is. If there's some sort of order to the universe, maybe that's the stretch of what it would take to clearly understand it. So to me, if there really is a God above this all, operating on that level, I'm out. It's too much. That is like, again, it's like an ant understanding how a television works, a computer monitor. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's a waste of the ant's time. Get back to work. Don't worry. Everything's fine. It's too much. So to me, that's what this universe stuff is. Now, is there a reason to it all? Well, the law of the jungle seems to work. It does. The jungle has a system. It has an ebb and a flow. It's got the hunters, the hunted. The hunters hunting these guys are hunting these guys. There's a flow, there's weather, there's food growth. When something decomposes, something else grows. There's a logic to it all. It all really does go together. And eventually, this little monkey-like creature starts to evolve to a smart monkey-like creature. And that creature starts to, through his creativeness and his evolutionary nature, things start to go in a new direction. It was the nature of the world to give birth to one thing that will dominate on the thinking part. And that's us. So what is that nature? What is this law of the jungle? This divine reason? I don't know. Logos. Logos. I'm going to call it logos now. This thing, this logos, this divine reason, it's in everything. It's in the earth, the solar system, the Milky Way, right? Our cells down to the molecular level. There's some sort of logic reason. Humans seem to be lost in the shuffle. We're this in-between of sort of knowing what we're supposed to do and sort of not knowing what we're supposed to do. And this is why we have philosophy. Now, where does free will play into this? So, the Stoics, like Zeno, thought that they were definitely deterministic to a point. Deterministic meaning every thought you have has a thought that comes before it. Even if you're choosing something like, do I want blue Pez or red Pez? You would think I really do. I could go blue or red. But what I don't realize right now is I've already chosen it and don't know. And I'm making myself think I might have a choice. I'm going to go with blue. Now, why did I choose blue? Maybe because this is in front of me. Maybe because this was in front. Maybe because I had blue cereal today. Maybe I don't have an answer. But there is little Hammurabis. Yes, Hammurabi code. I should do a show on that. So this deterministic thought, everything comes before it. So somebody that's able to have a tragedy and then get their things together and make good with it, why is he able to do it and this guy not? Well, you can probably look and see. You can probably examine their lives and see why one guy's able to get his stuff together and the other one's not. What about this, though? This is where they thought free will came into play. Your ability on how you view things. This is the free will part. No matter what, you can always change your opinion. Now, I thought about that, and I thought, well, okay, that's great. I'd like to think that. But even that has deterministic things behind it. Why is one able to do it and one not? Why is one guy able to say, I'm going to frame this different, and the other guy doesn't even know what I'm talking about? There's a reason. Well, I put the time to study it, and I put the time in to talk to it, and I put the time to hear. You can follow it back to when I was born. The other guy, you could probably follow back to when he was born, of why he's not able to do it this way. So now we're back to the beginning. Everything's determined. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this. I wrote some notes here on my own thinking of all of this, and mostly questions. Nature, law of the jungle. I put no revelation. That's the thing you won't see in the Stoics. You don't see revelations. You don't see people going, I know, and he doesn't know. Or, I had a secret told to me by somebody from outer space or from another They didn't do that. That's not Stoicism. That's why I like it. It's all up front. It's all there. We evolved to invent new laws. Nature provides the norms. So nature sets this boundary of the law of the jungle. And in there, we are playing with these norms and what it means and what parts we take in a new direction and what parts we don't. And studying virtue to become virtuous, well, it doesn't help us get what we desire, but it gets us what is going to make things better. But I thought about that for a second. I thought, well, what if I desire virtue? I guess that's good. That would be considered good in Stoicism. I desire virtue. Did I always desire virtue? Yeah, I did. I also always admired, even since I was little, and I'm sure most of you have, wisdom, courage. It's Flash Gordon stuff, folks. Dr. Zarkov was the wise one. Flash Gordon was the courageous. Temperance would be Dale Arden. Um, and justice, well, I guess you could say Ming the Merciless. I don't know. Ming was, Ming works on Law of the Jungle. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Um, okay, here we go. It seems there is a value judgment switch. Yes. At what point do you switch your values? Well, for me, it was through virtue. Eventually, I opened up new values, I will say. Um, yeah, and how does reasoning work in your mind? Logic and reasoning. I was thinking about that the other day. Most good virtuous things, if you apply logic and reason to them, it seems like the way to go, right? It's like, gosh, if I'm trying to make things easy and clean and smooth, and my goal is to whatever, to do this show or whatever it would be, it's in my interest to run it the virtue way. Why? Because it's going to be easy to get to the goal. So why wouldn't I want that? So it seems like a lot of these virtues are logical. They might seem like a little bit more work, but they seem logical. Now, where does the existentialist stuff kick in? The difference. According to your nature. It seems like in the Nietzsche version of this, the modern version, everybody does have a nature, and it's super unique to you. It's very unique to you, and it might not be hard. It might be hard to figure out what it is. I'm lucky. I kind of knew what mine was pretty early on. And I would say it's because of some of my deficiencies that it became such. Meaning, I always say I was diagnosed with a learning disability. It made my strengths pop out a little more. Yeah. You can't judge other people's nature sometimes, which is what I learned from Nietzsche. Everybody's got their way. Everybody's got their philosophy of how they're going to get there, and it might be different than yours. And you got to let them have it. You got to let them sort it out. If you have kids, you can introduce them to different modes of thought, but wait, let them sort it out. They're not you. My kids are a part of me, but they're definitely not me. They have so many different things that influence them. The list is endless. So I would want them to sit back and take in everything. A lot of people would say to me, like, when they were little, you brainwashed them with monster movies. And I'm like, no, I just showed them what I liked. Why would I not do that? If I liked normal movies, I would have showed them those. People thought that I was indoctrinating them to the types of a specific genre for fashionable reasons, or I don't know what they would imply, but I've had people tell me that. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. Because I've opened my kids up to a million other things most people didn't open their kids up to. Why? Because they didn't open their kids up to anything. They hit the play button on the television, or they hit the radio pop station. They didn't curate anything for them. Now, why would you not do that? The radio curated something for you. Something they're going to make money on. Something that you're going to get addicted to. Just like the TV curated something for you. Why wouldn't you curate stuff for your kids how you want it? I did. I thought this was a cool Zeno quote that I was going to end today with. All things are part of one single system, which is called nature. The individual life is good when it is in harmony with nature. Now, the hard part is figuring out what that is, what the harmony is. Now, on a simple note, if I ever meet somebody who is depressed or having some problems, my first advice for them is Okay, stop eating out. Start making your own food. Go to the grocery store, buy things, and make meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then do your dishes and put them away and start making your bed. Now, by doing that, it's a little bit of a trick. My trick. It's giving you purpose. You might not have purpose. You might feel lost. You might feel alone. Well, the easiest purpose there is to feed yourself good food that you curate for yourself. Maybe that means looking up a recipe. Maybe that means calling your family up and getting an old family recipe. Maybe it means whipping something up out of nowhere that you're going to invent. Whatever it is, you're applying yourself. You just gave yourself something to do that's tied literally to nature. Eating, your belly, filling it, eating healthy, feeling good. Maybe eating a meal and then dessert. Whatever it is, give yourself something to do. And then entropy kicks in. You got dirty dishes, you got a messy bed, clean it. Wake up, make sure there's no dishes, make the bed, make the meal. Before you know it, you're going to be busy. Making 3 meals a day ain't easy. It's a lot of work, especially doing the dishes too. So where there's a will on that one, you can find it. And that to me is what this is. Now, my nature, if someone says, well, what's your nature? My nature is to entertain people. I've been doing it since I was little. I entertain them with magic tricks. It's very simple. I do music too. The music I make is entertaining music. There. Lilith. Yes. To get out into nature. Thank you for even bringing this up. I should have brought that up immediately after saying that people need to cook for themselves. Yes. Go out in the woods. Go in the woods. Walk, hike, go fishing, go hunting, learn to hunt. Partake in what is nature. Make a garden. Plant some plants. Yep. Exposing kids to information is not indoctrination, says Peter. Yep, I agree, bro. If you make them aware of something that has value, it's different than forcing them into believing something or telling them what they should like. I agree, yeah. Now, here's something I always told my kids. Helps create a structure. Yep, structure creates mental sanity, too. I always taught my kids how to discriminate against films and music and things they don't like, but they have to be able to explain it. I never liked it when they're like, I hate that movie. Why? I hate it. Why didn't you like it? I don't like it. I hate that. Or was it a good movie? Oh, I loved it. Why? It was fun. Well, what was fun about it? I don't know. I just liked it. That to me is not communicating. I told my kids, if you don't like something, be able to explain it. Explain it. If you play me music I don't like, I can explain in utmost detail of why I won't like it or why I didn't like it. And that's what that's the difference between indoctrination, and information. Is if I'm going to show them something great, like an opera song or something, I explain to them the details of why I think it's cool. Maybe it's the way the notes are going together. Maybe it's the performance end of it. Maybe it's the composition. I don't know. I'm just saying as an example. Ooh, what's this? I'm going to read this, Dan. This looks cool. I taught a student that was in a wheelchair and nonverbal. Okay? She saw me one day visiting my grandma in the hospital. The next day, the beautiful child typed and shared with me to take my grandma outside. That's great. Love it. Yeah, so I really think that I'm glad I looked up Zeno a bit today, because it brought me back to the beginning of where it all comes from, and that is the Cynics. They started it. Well, Socrates and Plato. And Aristotle. Aristotle, I think, died, and then just right after he died, Zeno was born. It's amazing how they all just goes Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Antisthenes, then Zeno, Diogenes, then Zeno, and then blah, 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 then it just went. But they're all in order. And I like philosophy because, like science, it's a body of knowledge that you can toil with a bit. And because it's not science, it's philosophical science. Is that a word? It can be toiled with. It's not perfect. It's toilable. Is that a word too? I love making up words. But yeah, philosophy is, you're building upon these ideas that somebody else came up with, and you're taking them and playing with them. And the notion that I really want to get into is this notion of a divine logic of sorts in the universe, that obviously something's going on, folks. Clear as day. I highly doubt it's a Jewish carpenter, and I highly doubt it's some sort of ghost-like character wearing a robe and a beard. I don't think it's that. In fact, I'll say I highly doubt that. But as for some sort of governing force of math, yeah, maybe that's what God is. Math. That's it. Math. Math is God. Maybe. I don't know. I also don't think there was a beginning. I think every matter always was, which is hard to wrap your head around. Matter always was. Well, who created that? Maybe that's the part we can't get our head around. There never was nothing. I don't know. I do know it's Monday. It's 9:03. I got a good group in here. And I'm going to bounce out and start working on my stuff. I'll be here on Wednesday. And I'm going to be sending out some of these packages. And what else? Folks, I had a good one. Tonight's episode's one of those ones that makes me want to go read. As soon as I get off here, I'm probably going to get more water and then read. Yeah. Reading right now has become a major part of my day. I used to be a reader when I was young. I've had moments in my life where it goes in these chunks where I'm like reading nonstop, and then it lightens up a little bit, and then it gets heavy again. The Fibonacci sequence might be God. I've heard this theory. Yes. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to think about, Amanda, and it's great and it's fun, right? I love it. I really do. I like sitting around and chewing on this stuff. It helps me get through the day. I like talking about it with friends, and it's really fun. I just can't believe people don't think this kind of stuff's fun. It's all we have. All we have is here. Let's go in it a little more. Let's try. Everybody's worried about their arms and their abs and their butt. How about here, folks? God. Now, I'm all for people posting their healthy body photos online. That's great. That goes with this, too, having a healthy body. But I really do think, I think we need to make it a trend for this. I remember John Waters once said, if you go to someone's house and they don't have any books, don't sleep with them. And I get his notion. We want smart people. Wow. All right, folks. I had a good time tonight, and I can't wait to start reading again. You guys are cool. I got a good group in here. Amanda, Dan, William, Darla, Lilith in the house, Dan P, Bozo. Who else? Cassandra, Peter. Great group tonight. Libra Liz is in here. Here. Lyart Bain says, Hail Satan. What's up? Darla. There's some new people in here. Please, come on in. I love the new people. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit the like. Hit the notify. And keep chatting. And go look at the description at the stuff you can win. My name is Cardone. This was episode 74. I feel a little because I've been online for so long tonight. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Party on, everybody. Thank you. And over and out.